about the surviving daughter of Marie Antoinette who lived in Britain in the early 19th century. This is the story of Marie Therese Charlotte de Bourbon, also known as Madame Royale, subject of a major screen adaptation. She is born at Versailles in 1778 into unimaginable riches. Her birth heralds the maturing of Marie Antoinette, who is an excellent mother. That said, Antoinette almost dies in labour when over 200 people squeeze into her chamber to gawp at the birth. Madame Royale is the first child of the royal couple after 7 years of marriage. She's the healthiest and the only one to survive into adulthood. In June 1789, the Bourbon curse begins. Her brother, the Dauphin, tragically dies, devastating the family. But immediate pressure is on the king during his grief to quell fury convulsing the country due to poverty and hunger. In the July of that year, the state prison, the Bastille, is stormed in Paris and all hell is unleashed. Anarchy reigns. Later that year, in October, Versailles is rampaged by a furious armed mob. The royal family are taken to Paris and will never return. Madame Royale mimics her mother's serene composure. The Bourbons, now known as plain Mr. and Mrs. Capet, are under house arrest in the Tuileries Palace. Then, after a doomed escape bid, are taken to the damp and dark Temple prison. Her parents are both executed in 1793. Meanwhile, her little brother, the new king, dies in 1795 through torture and neglect. She begs to be allowed to nurse her brother, but this is denied. Amazingly, the family dog Coco survives and travels with Madame Royale for years to come. In 1795, the day before her 17th birthday, Madame Royale is dramatically released from prison and barrels across Europe to her mother's family palace, the Hofburg in Vienna, protected by armed guards. By now, Napoleon dominates all of Europe and monarchs are quaking in their expensive leather boots. Young Madame Royale, daughter of a king, is a trump card in the marriage stakes. Her Austrian relatives want her to marry sexy Archduke Karl so they can make a land grab through marriage. Meanwhile, over in Verona, her Bourbon uncle king plots for her to marry her limp cousin Duke Angoulême because she is a useful symbol of purity and guilt in France and will help them win back the throne. The race is on. Who will she pick? Madame Royale is duped by the conniving Bourbons into thinking her parents wanted her to marry drippy Duke Angoulême. But the Austrians won't let her go, as she swapped one prison for another. Finally, the Russian Tsar, Mad Paul, helps Louis XVIII get Madame Royale out of Vienna by threatening war if she's not released. She travels to Latvia to marry Angoulême. The wedding is set up to happen quickly, as they are fearful she will change her mind if she spends too much time with the lackluster prince, whose only passion is for military uniforms. The love letters he wrote to Madame Royale were actually penned by the old Uncle King. When the Tsar makes up with Napoleon, he evicts the Bourbons from the ducal palace in Latvia during one freezing winter of 1801. They are to leave right now, in bitingly cold January. Madame Royale and her uncle must cross the snowy wastelands by carriage and on foot. Penniless, she secures a loan on her diamonds. She helps her chubby, gouty old uncle by taking his hand across the snow. Well, over the next 13 years, Madame Royale publishes her memoirs as propaganda, becomes an international celebrity, lives as a guest of royalty around Europe, including at Hartwell House and at Holyrood Palace in Edinburgh, enjoys the company of the Prince Regent at Carlton House, and loves the novels of Frances Burney. All the while, she holds her parents in her heart. Now, for PR reasons, she is presented to the French as an angel, a saint, a martyr. They visit her cell in the Temple until Boney has it demolished. Those damn Bourbons are still making him paranoid. In fact, she's not a total angel. She's fun-loving, enjoys the company of wild alpha males, and has a great sense of humour. She's a brilliant horsewoman and billiards player, thrashing the boys. She loves spa days at Bath and Vichy. She loves theatre and opera. In April 1814, the Bourbons are back. They arrive in Paris to a cavalcade of approval. Louis XVIII is king. All his scheming has paid off. Unfortunately, he can hardly walk due to gout, but no matter, because popular Madame Royale smooths the way. She's young and kind of pretty. Mind you, she's not the peachy-cheeked child of portraits of yesteryear. But the king often has to tell her to stop looking like a ghoul and wear some rouge for God's sake. Madame Royale is loved by the people and glad to be home. But understandably, she suffers terrible traumas in France when triggered by childhood memories. She will never have children of her own, but is a wonderful surrogate mother to her niece and nephew, Henri and Louise, while their delightfully crazy mother, Carolina Berry, escapades around Europe using aliases from the novels of Sir Walter Scott. Napoleon tries to come back in 1815, escaping from Elba. He succeeds for 100 days. But in her hour of glory, Madame Royale faces up to his troops at Bordeaux fearlessly, and he calls her the only man in the Bourbon family. Praise indeed. Her uncles flee to safety just in their wake. Of course, the uncles make use of Madame Royale's bravery at Bordeaux by commissioning a huge painting of her rallying the army there for public consumption. Well, the Bourbons ruled for another 15 years under Louis and then Charles X, but in 1830 they're busted flush. For half an hour, Madame Royale is Queen of France, but under pressure her husband signs the document of abdication, as well as his father Charles X. The new citizen king of France is their dastardly cousin, Orléans. Madame Royale warned the uncles about that rat. My favourite story is that while she always was presented as outwardly stoical, detached and restrained, when her uncles wouldn't take her advice, she would lie on the floor, weeping, wailing and tantruming for France. Maybe they should have taken her advice. Madame Royale might just have been the best monarch of the lot. Today I'm speaking from Dundas Castle, built in peak Madame Royale era by the Dundas family in 1818. I'd like to thank the owners for the use of this location. My biography of Madame Royale will be published next year by Pen and Sword Books, and the screen adaptation will follow. Thanks also to Matt Jones for making this film.